Today we're going to review research out of New Zealand from the British Journal of Educational Technology that discusses technology use and learning characteristics of students in higher education. In particular, do generational differences exist? Variances not only in the way we use technology, but also the types of technologies we use and the learning characteristics we have across differing age groups. In an era of exponential technological growth, this is of importance to us as educators as a key factor in determining types of pedagogies we employ to ensure the greatest impact on students. It is also important to us as students to realize the types of technologies being utilized in ensuring the best possible educational experience. Studies show that in 2009, 8 to 18-year-olds spent an average of 4 to 4.5 hours daily using digital technologies outside of school. This immersion certainly plays a role in the way people experience life, to include learning, and some have suggested this immersion has created a fundamental difference in how the current generation of young people learn. Current research on this difference shows a lack of empirical evidence to substantiate a digital divide. That being said, the same research does show a difference in access and use of technologies by young people, suggesting that this immersion doesn't necessarily indicate use. Furthermore, any skills acquired during social use of technologies may not easily be transferred to academic use. This study aims to duplicate research from 2011 to contribute to the growing knowledge base of technology use patterns and learning characteristics of tertiary students, and to further investigate the claims and assumptions of the digital natives phenomenon. Digital natives is a term coined by Mark Prensky to refer to the current generation of young people who have not just changed incrementally from those of the past, but a large discontinuity or singularity event has taken place. From this term, the following terms have been developed to describe the generations. These terms have been used in this research. Those under 20 years of age are described as Generation Next, or the digital natives. 20 to 30-year-olds are described as Generation Y, and over 30-year-olds are described as the Net generation. Additionally, the term digital immigrants is used to describe those people who grew up in a world of analog technologies and are viewed as lacking the ability of using digital technologies. By surveying 799 undergraduate students and 81 postgraduate students divided into the aforementioned 3 age groups, this study will address 2 research questions. 1. What technology tools do university students use and how frequently do they use them? As well as, does the pattern of technology use differ between different age groups of students? And 2, what learning characteristics do students have in relation to the use of digital technologies? And are there any generational differences? As you can see here, the first research question is addressed to determine how frequently each age group uses technology for academic and social use. The majority, around 60% of the students, reported spending over 10 hours per week. More than half spend 20 hours, and almost 40% spend 10 or less, using technologies for academic purposes. They were asked the amount of time spent using technologies for academic or social purposes, and findings were equally distributed, with about 1/3 belonging to each category. These findings suggest that while young people do spend a large amount of time on digital technologies, this use is not universal. The survey respondents provided a list of digital tools and applications they used and how often they were used. There were generational differences in types of applications used, as Generations Net, Group 1, the under 20-year-olds, and Y, Group 2, the 20 to 30-year-olds, used their mobile phones, social networking sites such as Facebook and MySpace, and their MP3 players more than the Net generation, that's Group 3, the over 30-year-olds, for both academic and social usage. That being said, the effect sizes of these differences were weak, with little practical significance and the differences between generations. As you can see in Table 4, there were generational differences on 4 dimensions of learning characteristics, but no differences for the other 6. In the digital literacy dimension, almost all of the respondents considered themselves digitally literate. Likewise, in the connectedness dimension, the respondents reported a high level of connectedness with friends through digital technologies. In the social dimension, the respondents enjoyed meeting new people, but only 60% of them enjoyed talking about themselves to people they met. Most respondents reported preferring images, video, and other multimedia elements over text. However, only 54% agreed that they did not like reading large amounts of text. Most agreed that they would like to participate in projects and activities that made a difference to society, and the majority also agreed that science and technology could resolve problems in society. Generational differences were found in the dimensions of multitasking, structure and goal orientation, working in groups, and the need for immediacy. In multitasking, 91% agree that they were able to do several tasks at the same time. Differences were found between groups 1 and 2, but not between 3 and the other 2. Respondents showed a preference for having clear instruction and information before trying something new, and having clear goals in life. In general, all the respondents showed a preference for experiential learning, either through exploration or by doing. And again, while generational differences were detected, the differences represented very small effect sizes, and as such, there were no practical differences between the groups. This study validates the original research that the net generation's use of digital technologies is certainly complex, but not homogeneous. Findings from this research does not support the idea that the current generation has a unique learning style or preference than older generations. Although younger generations may learn slightly differently, their use of digital technologies is similar to older learners. However, understanding the learning characteristics of students is key in developing and employing pedagogies that will have significant impact on the success of students. Digital technologies need to be at the forefront of these considerations in higher education. Thank you.